everybody. Rabbi Denise here. I'm wearing my snazzy new secular synagogue shirt, to which I'm super excited. We got some merch, and 25% of all of the proceeds from anything we sell in the secular synagogue store will go to support Black and Indigenous-led causes. So I'm excited about that. I'm here in my kitchen. I've got my yeast here and getting together my ingredients because I'm doing a challah bake shortly with Tiffany Schlein she has a great book called 24/6, and it's all about using the kind of wisdom of Shabbat to unplug and do a tech-free 24-hour period every week. And she hosts these awesome Zoom challah bakes where people converse and dialogue. I'll be on with Paul Golan from the Society for Humanistic Judaism. I think we're gonna have an amazing conversation and bake some challah together. So that's in about an hour. And if you want to register, then the info is up on my social media and also at 246life.com. So I'm thinking about challah. I'm thinking about creativity. I'm not a natural baker. I'll tell you, I'm not actually great at baking, although I did use Tiffany Schlein's challah recipe and made a beautiful challah a little while ago. So if I can do it, you can do it. I know it's possible. But what I at least intellectually understand, even if I don't always feel it myself, is that there's something so creatively satisfying about baking, particularly as you're kneading the dough, and anything that connects the kind of body with the mind or the spirit, I think is extra nourishing. So a lot of what I lead in secular synagogue, we talk about a kind of embodied form of Judaism. I think walking for the ritual of Tashlich when we cast away at Rosh Hashanah, throwing something into the water and letting it kind of symbolize what we want to let go of from the past year. That's partly so beautiful because it's embodied. And baking a challah is like that. You're not only getting ready to celebrate Shabbat in your kind of mind, but you're doing something active and physical to bring forth the Shabbat. And I think that that is really, really powerful. This week I've been thinking about something with secular synagogue that I've thought of before, but it sort of keeps coming up to me, and I'm sort of meditating on it this week. So I thought I'd do my Shabbat Live on it. And by the way, these Shabbat Lives are often for members of secular synagogue, and I do it for them. Every now and then I do one for the public as well, which appears on my Facebook page and also up on YouTube later. But one of the reasons I wanted to do this one today is because I think this is an issue that affects so many of us, and that is how do we create meaningful community, especially online community, and especially now during COVID, when we're tired, when we're sort of spiritually exhausted, when the news is horrific, and big shout out to people who are boarding up their homes because of hurricane warnings. The Black Lives Matter stuff is so, significant right now. And of course, that's where people are putting a lot of their energy. We have a member in secular synagogue who lives in Wisconsin, and I think has just been really, really impacted by events there recently. And of course, she's not the only one. So there's so much going on and so much to take our focus and attention. I can feel like, well, I don't have a lot of time for my kind of Jewish community or to sort of even connect with family and friends. I'm noticing sometimes people are just finding it really hard to do the things that are sustaining for them. And when I was building secular synagogue 2 years ago, we launched 2 years ago at Rosh Hashanah, one of the things that I really wanted to think about was how do we build a community that isn't sort of top down, that isn't like me feeding people their Jewish stuff. So, some of you educators might know the theory of Paulo Freire from Pedagogy for the Oppressed, and he talks about the banking model of education, where it's like the teacher makes deposits into students, and students are kind of passively receive them, and that's not good pedagogy. It's much better when everybody's kind of co-creating the content of the classroom. So I believe in that for teaching, and I believe in that for Jewish life as well. And I wanted to create a community that was co-created. I wanted to provide a container where people would build stuff, and it's beautiful to see that happening. We have members leading Musar group, that's about character development. We have a member doing Shabbat services all month long. People make suggestions about what books and films we should study together. People are posting in the group all the time, photo challenges and things that I wouldn't think to do. Even the merch came about because members were like, we need a merch store. And I was like, okay. And then they made it. So I'm just so inspired. And I know it's always true, but in particular for me, for Jewish community, that those who are actively contributing are getting the most out of it. So yes, it's work and it's time and everybody's busy and exhausted, but there's also a way in which there's this downward spiral of energy that can happen where we're depleted, so we do less, and then we're kind of on the couch all the time and we feel gross, and we do even less because we feel gross. Or there's a way to spiral up and be like, I'm going to make a meaningful contribution, and then I feel better, and then I get something back, and then I know people better in the group, and then like we share inside jokes, and like that can feel so energizing. So right before the kind of COVID shutdowns, I was part of Knisa, a gathering of people doing kind of creative Jewish stuff. And it's run by a rabbi named Sid Schwartz, who's a brilliant person. And he talks about covenantal community. And his thinking is that a covenant is between the people. I mean, maybe this isn't his thinking, maybe this is my interpretation of it. But the idea is like within your community, there's a covenant of mutual care, and like you show up, not just because it's good for you to show up, but because it's good for other people when you show up. And I'm such a believer in that. And I'm really trying to find that balance in my own personal life and the things I show up for and the community that I want to be part of Jewishly. It's kind of my belief that how you show up in one place will impact the way you show up in the world beyond it. So if I'm giving myself a pass and being like, nah, I'm not going to engage, I'm not going to reply to that, I'm not going to look at that, every now and then we need to take a break. And that's the lesson of 24/6. You can't be go, go, go all the time. Earlier this week, I went camping with my kids. My phone died. I let it be dead for like 2 days. It was good to take a break. And then I get back online and I kind of rejoin, and I'm doing the petitions, and I'm engaging with people, and I'm offering support, and I'm, posting the funny memes to kind of like make people feel good and all that kind of stuff. Like you show up. And so that's kind of where my thinking is at this week. How do we find ways to meaningfully show up, meaningfully take breaks so we can keep meaningfully showing up, and create covenantal communities where it's not just like I'm the passive recipient of the deposit that the rabbi is doing or somebody else is doing, but like we're co-creating something together. We show up for each other. That's kind of where I believe the power in Jewish community can be. And that's why, like, I'm just going to transition a little bit. Secular Synagogue has been doing this beautiful Elul program, and I think people are really, really loving it. We get together weekly over Zoom. There's tech study options. People had the chance to pair up with somebody if they wanted a kind of study buddy to do it with. But on their own, people are doing yoga, meditation, journaling, listening to the shofar, going for walks, a real focus on kind of spiritual, physical, and emotional self-care to lead us into the high holidays. But then, like, spoiler alert, we're going to be keeping that going through the high holidays, because the point is to meet the new Jewish year the way you want to show up for the whole year. So it's not all banking style. I'm not just feeding you content. I don't want you to just sit passively in a service and kind of like absorb some of it. I'm looking for co-created, engaged options for people. So for our high holidays, we will have some online services where people participate. There's also going to be a guide for a lot of at-home stuff, including how to make a space in your home that's for kind of spiritual significance. Some people call them altars. Some people just think of that as like a little nook where you make it beautiful and yours. So if you do want to log into a service, or if you do want to do some journaling, you have somewhere that feels special for that. It's going to be a Tashlich guide, that ritual of casting away, so we can all be doing it from all over the world. The same poems, the same kind of words being said if you choose, and doing the same tzedakah work. So every year for that, we raise money for food security organizations. So I'll invite people to join for that. So many beautiful things, but it's not just me telling you what to do. It's a co-created DIY experience, because I really do believe in covenantal community. I think that's where the real meaning is. So the creativity of baking challah, of creating traditions, of setting up the space, of leading part of a service, of sharing the meme, all of that kind of stuff. I think it helps the community, it helps as we show up for others, but it also feeds ourselves. So come full circle. I hope you'll join for the challah bake. I'm super excited about it. And if you're not a great baker, don't worry about it. Even if your challah falls apart, that's not really the point. The point is to show up, to join community, to help co-create it. You're literally creating something as you join us, and be part of something, especially during COVID, where people come together from all over the place in real time to mark a tradition, to have conversation, to make meaning with each other. I think it's inspiring and it's beautiful. So I'll post the link below, but it's 246life.com if you want to register for the Challah Bake. If you're interested in Secular Synagogue's high holiday programs or other programs, that's at secularsynagogue.com. And when I'm getting some questions, we don't take new members all the time. Our next Doors Open period starts September 4th. So we're happy to welcome you then if you're looking for a community to join. Take good care, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.